Today is the birthday of the President of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelenskyy. And my son Simon, just by the way. Good afternoon. This is Henry Keane explaining hard things in easy terms for you here on UATV channel. As a birthday present, I have given my son some money and freedom of parental control. You, dear world, have presented to the President of Ukraine a much more significant gift. Yet it is all about freedom just as well. The diplomatic struggle for Leopards did not stop for a single moment after the decision was not approved at the Ramstein meeting on January 19th. The change in Berlin's official position is the result of coordinated pressure of our diplomacy partners and civil society, which actively joined the lobbying campaign. A positive decision in Berlin will open up an opportunity to supply Ukraine with dozens of Leopard 2 tanks and other equipment. In addition to Germany, 12 participating countries of the Ramstein format have already expressed their readiness to transfer German tanks to Ukraine. Modern Western tanks and armored vehicles are a significant factor of Ukrainian superiority in the conditions of the depletion of vehicles arsenal which both Ukraine and Russia suffered from after almost a year of active warfare. Dear Mr. President, I'm not sure that fate could have ever presented a more radical, unexpected and steep twist than to walk the whole way from a comedian to the president of a country at war, from a movie comic to someone who is accepted in the United States Senate with applause, someone who has made a challenging and all-changing decision to reject a ride and to claim for arms. What a way must have you walked from a hesitating dude who was catched the wave of the protesting nation and that threw him up to the very top, to someone who truly deserves this position, who has changed his personal ways to the ways of this very nation. He obviously does his best for the best of this nation. Putin hates you, Mr. President. Now, ain't that the best present ever? Putin hates you because you are not meeting friends, allies and opponents sitting at the other side of an absurdly long table. Putin hates you, Mr. President, because you go to Bakhmut. Putin hates you because you are 45 and he's 70. Putin hates you because you are the symbol of life, thrive and victory, while he is the demise, fear and destruction. Putin hates you, Mr. President, because you are legit. You are our president, we are your nation. Putin hates you because even your enemies admit, damn, he is good. Putin hates you because you have tamed leopards and will tame falcons. And we have nothing against if you tame also the warthogs. We like this animal planet so very much. Putin hates it. Putin hates you because you and him were born and lived in the same country, USSR. Yet he is all about returning to the imperial past, and you are all about the free world's future. Putin hates you, and we're expecting the gifts from him today. Missiles, drones, and shells. Putin will hate you even more because, fuck him, we're not afraid, Mr. President. Putin hates you because you are not afraid, and we won't too. Well, that cannot be ever forgiven, you know. No cowardice ever forgives bravery. No dictatorship ever forgives freedom. No Putin will ever forgive no Zelenskyy for being free and not a slave. And no Zelenskyy will ever need Putin's forgiveness. And that, Mr. President, is the best present for us as your nation. So, happy birthday, z dnem narodzenia, and Mazel Tov, Mr. President. Do yourself and us as a nation a favor. Stay who you are and do what you do. The future is now, so let's win it. Almost 1/5 of the territory of Ukraine is under temporary occupation. Ensuring our sovereignty and territorial integrity is a direct constitutional duty, the realization of Ukraine's right to self-defense enshrined at the international level. The territory of Ukraine is indivisible. There is no legal basis for the exclusion of any of the Ukrainian territories occupied by Russia since 2014. But there are plenty of illegal ones. And Russia uses them illegally to annex, everything it can. There are no internal prerequisites for this, such as the internal features of the territories or the desire of their population. No, people in free Balaklia and in occupied Starobilsk are Ukrainians. Let us, dear world, try to talk sense today to those who suggest Ukraine feed the beast one or two limbs to save the whole body. No dose will ever satisfy a drug addict for good. He will always be craving for more. Power addict, Putin, is no exception. But no territorial concessions will satisfy Putin's appetites, but on the contrary, whet the appetites and will lead to the continuation of expansion. Moscow's goal is not to control Melitopol or Solidar, but to destroy the very Ukrainian statehood.
On this entire territory, temporarily occupied by the Russian troops, robbery is reigning. Everything they have not destroyed, they are stealing and shipping to Russia. Everything. Russians are stealing grain and agricultural machinery from Ukrainian farmers. The occupiers dismantle the factories and send the equipment to Russia. Warehouses, shops, and people's homes are being looted, and they kidnap people. They see people as a resource. About 2 million Ukrainians were forcibly taken to Russia, deported. The fact that Russia tried to steal the part of our land by declaring an illegal annexation is the finalization of their predatory policy.
So Ukraine liberates not only its territories. No, we liberate our very spirit, the essence of our statehood, our people, those who do not want to live under the Russian occupation, and those who want are also free to get the fuck out of Ukraine, but they are not taking Ukraine with them to Russia. Not even the smallest part of it. It just won't happen. It's our land, our blue skies, and our golden fields of rye on our flag. Russia possesses threats to the lives and health of people, grossly violates their rights. Basic rights to property, dignity, freedom of speech, belief, conscience, you name it.
If we analyze in more detail who and under what circumstances the occupiers deprive of freedom, we can name the following reasons. They want to isolate, to pull out active people, leaders, those who help others, those who are engaged in journalistic work, deputies of local authorities from the Ukrainian society in the occupied territories. They hope that in this way they will reduce the potential for resistance. That is, there will be no leaders, there will be no one to unite around everyone else. This idea, which they profess in relation to the Russian opposition, does not work in Ukraine. That is, the potential for resistance is not decreasing. Ukrainian society is strong with its horizontal communication. It is not at all necessary that there be any bright leaders. People will still unite and will still defend their freedom.
Russia truly is a fine heir to the Soviet Empire that always pursued a policy of genocide. It wants to destroy Ukrainian identity as such. It carries out displacement of the population, destroying people's lives in cruel, illogical, and absolutely hopeless attempt to change the demographics in its favor. Russia steals our children, literally. It makes them orphans by killing their parents. Just think about it. Instead of make their own state to flourish, Putin wants to destroy ours in order to make some ill sense of it. The occupiers are illegally mobilizing Ukrainians into their armed formations, forcing them to fight against their own compatriots. This is a blatant violation of international rules of warfare and Putin's usual tactics. The Russian ombudsman Moskalkova appealed to the ICRC with a request to intensify work with Russian POWs, prisoners of war, in Ukraine. Apart from the question, what exactly the hell Russian troops are doing here in Ukraine, it sounds absurd to extreme. Moscow is trying to accuse Kiev of violating the Geneva Conventions at the international level. Of course, Russia is just hoping to weaken the support of Ukraine by its partners. Russia is trying to engage useful idiots in international organizations who are ready to voice the thesis, everything is not that simple, in order to equalize the victim and the aggressor. To promote the necessary narrative, Moscow does not shy away from falsifying evidence, in particular appealing to questionable videos. While Russia accuses Ukraine of ill treatment of prisoners of war that Russia itself has started, the Russians torture and execute our prisoners, committing a mass murder in a place called Olenivka. On the night of July 29, 2022, one of the barracks of the penal colony in the Russian-occupied village of Olenivka in Donetsk region was destroyed. At least 50 Ukrainian prisoners of war held there by Russia died. The Ministry of Reintegration quotes Ivan Angelin, a representative of the Office of the Commissioner for Missing Persons, who commented on the duration of the DNA tests.
After returning the bodies of the fallen heroes, we transfer them to specialized institutions for forensic medical examination. Next, the investigator reports the information about the dead directly to the relatives. The long duration of the DNA examination is connected with the investigation of other aspects of the crime in Olenivka. Ivan Angelin, a representative of the Office of the Commissioner for Missing Persons.
Mikhailo Podolyak, advisor to the head of the president's office, said that the published satellite images of the prison building in the occupied Olenivka in Donetsk region, where Ukrainian prisoners of war were held, before and after the explosions, once again confirm that it was a terrorist attack carried out by Russia.
Satellite images show that only one building was damaged. Prisoners were transferred there right before the attack. Photo analysis show a thermoballistic explosion from the inside. A hit? No, a terroristic attack. Mikhailo Podolyak, advisor to the head of the President's Office of Ukraine, on Twitter.
Unlike Russia, Ukraine is open to our cooperation and has granted the UN access to penitentiary establishments where Russian POWs are held. Come over and see yourself. Meanwhile, the United Nations has declared that it is ready to investigate the death of dozens of Ukrainian prisoners of war in Olenivka. You know, the Russian paradigm, whatever it is, political, economical, military, social, any, has always been based on pressure. They pressure their own people. So one should not be really surprised that having started the war themselves, the Russians also put pressure on international organizations in an attempt to convince them that it is them, Russians, who are victims of injustice. As soon as they put away this pressure, no matter how absurd it may sound, the whole paradigm of Russian power and strength empire that they are trying to demonstrate to you, dear world, will inevitably collapse. And we, in Ukraine, can promise you one thing. We will do everything possible and impossible to make this happen as soon as possible. It was Henry Keane explaining hard things in his return for you on UATV channel. Stay safe and tune for more.